You might notice something in my magical Taruruto-kun 2 footage. A lot of it is going to look very similar. And the reason for that is magical Taruruto-kun 2 is just about the most difficult platformer I've played on the Famicom. This is a game that will try to break you. And while they give you tools to make sure that you can get through the game, you will have to fight for every step forward that you take. Magical Taruruto-kun was a comic and later cartoon about a boy who accidentally summons a magical sprite, and then they have comedic misadventures. As the title of the game implies, this is the second in the series on the Famicom, the first coming out barely a year ago in early 1991. It was a platformer, and it looks extremely similar to this one. They did give this game a subtitle, Maho Daiboken, or Magical Adventure, which I guess is about the most generic subtitle you could give a game. Magical Taruruto-kun 2 has 2 battery save slots, and you will have to use one when you start. There's also 2 difficulties, normal and easy. I chose to play on normal, and easy reduces the quantity of enemies that you'll have to face. Once you're in the game, you've got this map that plots out your course, and then you can go to a stage and hit the B button to start. But before you get into it, you first have to choose which character you're playing as. There are 3 of them, and there are significant differences. Honmaru is the boy who summoned Taruruto, and he's the medium choice. His default attack isn't great, but he has access to a mix of utility items and attack power-ups. Taruruto himself has the longest attack range with his tongue, but he gets utility spells instead of attack power-ups. And Mimura is Taruruto's childhood friend, and she has the weakest attack option by default, but her abilities focus on powering up her attack. At the start of the game, every character has access to 2 additional abilities, and more will unlock as you progress through the game. On stages, the B button attacks, A button jumps, and getting touched by anything will kill you. And the thing that makes Magical Taruruto-kun 2 extra difficult, the thing that's bound to break you, is that the developer Tosei was extra cruel with the enemy placement. You'll have monsters that appear at the edge of the screen and then suddenly dive bomb towards you, or things that will just appear 2 steps in front of you. And these armadillos are indestructible, but good luck knowing that the first time you encounter them. Right from the start, everything is placed to make your life difficult. In this first world, at least, the platforming isn't incredibly difficult. It's just that you're fragile, and there's a lot of stuff coming at you from odd angles. The way that you can mitigate some of that is by collecting the snacks that are scattered across the levels. Honmaru and Taruruto have takoyaki available to them, while Mimura collects pudding. And once you've collected enough of it, you can hit select, and that's how you activate your tools for a short time. Honmaru and Taruruto start with 1 tool in common, this rod that stops time and halts enemies in their tracks. One problem with using this, and other tools like it, you can't attack while it's active, so if enemies are stopped in a place where you need to go, well, you're out of luck. Honmaru also gets a power-up that makes his attack have a longer reach. Taruruto's other starting item will suck in any takoyaki that appear on screen. Since it costs 10 takoyaki to use, you'll want to make sure that you're collecting at least 10 when you use it. Mimura's first power-up increases the reach of her attack a little bit, but only when she's standing on the ground. And the hammer increases her reach a lot, as well as turns whatever it hits into an animal. All of these power-ups only last for about 15 seconds, so you can't just keep using them over and over again. Sometimes you'll find treasure chests on stages, and when you hit them to open them, well, what you find inside usually isn't that great. The bowl of, ramen, I guess, will take you to a bonus area with a special item, while collecting this amulet will reverse all of your controls. And I mean all of them. It's not just left and right that gets reversed, it's also A and B. The stages in Magical Taruruto-kun 2 are very long. There's a time limit, and you're going to be pushing that time limit whenever you play. At the end of the stage, you'll find a big treat, and when you touch it, small treats and frogs pop out. The frogs are extra lives. Some stages in Magical Taruruto-kun 2 have multiple forms. You beat them once, then go back in to open an alternate path, and on your second time through it'll have totally different enemy placement. There are a few locations you can visit on the map other than levels. There are bonus games where you can gamble some of your treats and possibly win more, and special bonus rooms where you can collect a lot of stuff. One of the weird additions to Magical Taruruto-kun 2 is that you can now level up your characters. All three of them level up separately, and increasing their levels will improve their movement speed, how they jump, and their attack. You level up by completing certain training courses, which weren't really in the first world. And of course, at the end of every world, there's a boss for you to defeat. You couldn't fight this one with Honmaru, and you aren't able to use items against them either. During the bosses, you also have a health bar, and it's the only time in the game that you have that. There are 6 worlds total before you reach the end of the game, and there isn't really a driving story here. It's just that they're going after people who bully Honmaru. Magical Taruruto-kun 2 is remembered as one of the better Famicom games, though it's also known for its completely absurd difficulty. I found the game to be so difficult that I was saving after every stage and then resetting and reloading when I died. It's just that hard. It's still a well-made game. You just have to be prepared for the ultimate challenge on the Famicom if you're going to play it.